How's it going, my friends? I'm Skwizzit. Can you beat Pokemon Blue version with only water-type Pokemon? Of course you can. What the hell kind of question is that? I know, I asked myself. But I wanted to do a fun challenge run since my last 5 were brutal. So here we are. For this to be considered a challenge, I've given myself a list of rules. Number 1, I can only use water types in battle. Number 2, other Pokemon can be used outside of battle for the sole purpose of HMs. Number 3, no items in battle. And finally, number 4, no glitches or exploits. That would ruin the fun. First things first, Professor Oak saves my life and gives us 1 of 3 Pokemon from his lab. Since I'm sticking to water types, I pick my childhood Kanto starter, Squirtle. I nickname this adorable little turtle, Crush, and let the challenge begin. By the way, throughout this run, 2/3 of the nicknames I give to my Pokemon are references. Let's see if you can figure out each one and what they refer to in the comment section. Without further ado, it's time for the first gym leader battle. By the time I make it to Brock, Crush is level 13, and this is an unfortunate day to be a Broccoli. Geodude goes down in 1 bubble, followed by 1 tackle. I don't know why I went for Tail Whip there, it didn't really matter. As Onix comes out next. Bubble's gonna do a hefty amount of damage, and 1 more bubble takes it down. Easy. I mean, I started with Squirtle, so this comes as no surprise. Let's head toward Mount Moon. Shortly after venturing eastward, Crush evolves into a nice and powerful Wartortle. Just before entering Mount Moon, this scumbag of a man standing in the Pokemon Center tries to sell me a crappy Magikarp for 500. Yeah, I bought it. No regrets! I nicknamed this rip-off Magikarp Shinron for obvious reasons, but you're gonna be a chore to evolve, my friend. Welcome to the team. Adventuring through Mount Moon went incredibly smoothly, but incredibly slowly, as I decided to switch train Shinron throughout the whole cave. Purchasing this Magikarp from that 2-bit hustler in the Pokemon Center robbed me of my money and my time, but hopefully it'll be worth it in the end. I exit Mount Moon and arrive in Cerulean City unscathed. The first thing I do is take on my rival on Nugget Bridge. At this point, I'm still switch training Shinron, that way he could evolve into a powerful Gyarados that could help me out with Misty. My rival's first 4 Pokemon go down extremely easily, even with the whole switching from Shinron to Crush, back to Shinron, and back into Crush to switch train. Lastly, he has a Bulbasaur, and I do the same thing foolishly, even though he has Vine Whip. Luckily, he doesn't punish me for switching out, and he goes down after a ton of tackles. After a lot more switch training between the trainers on Nugget Bridge and the trainers just before Bill's house, Shinron hits level 18 and I have 2 rare candies, one from behind the house in Cerulean and one from Mount Moon. These 2 rare candies will level up Shinron from level 18 to 20, making him evolve into a powerful Gyarados, thus ending the perpetual nightmare that is switch training this $500 fish. Thankfully now you can pull your own weight and I could use you to defeat Misty. Let's go ahead and try it out. Oh man, was it worth it to evolve Shinron. Shinron is an absolute beast in this battle. 1 crit bite takes out her lead Staryu. Starmie comes in and starts tackling Shinron because it hits for neutral damage, but it's not doing much. She ends up going for an X defend, and Starmie goes down in 1 more bite. Easy money there. 500 schmackaroos, well worth it. Next up is the rival battle on the SS Anne. He leads with Pidgeotto as I lead with Shinron, who has access to Dragon Rage at this point, a move that always does 40 damage no matter what. After a Dragon Rage and a bite, Pidgeotto goes down and Raticate comes in. Don't mind me switching around my moves, I have an OCD issue. In a similar fashion to Pidgeotto, Raticate goes down to a Dragon Rage followed up by a tackle instead of a bite. Next up is Kadabra, and this is going to be a 2-shot as well. Dragon Rage does almost all of his HP. He has more than 40. That's apparent. A tackle takes it down. Next up is Ivysaur. Dragon Rage is going to be a 2-shot here too. Vine Whip doesn't do anything to Shinron because he's part flying type, and Ivysaur goes down. After the worst designed puzzle in Pokemon history, the battle with Lieutenant Surge is now upon us. I lead with Shinron. This may seem weird, as he's 4 times weak to electric moves, but he's just so bulky that this means nothing. Voltorb and Pikachu easily go down to a couple bites. Next up is Raichu. I get a crit, and Thundershock doesn't do that much. So Raichu goes down super easy as well. Shinron, you're carrying the team at this point. I'm glad I have you, buddy. After snagging the bike voucher in Vermilion City, I head back to Cerulean City and grab a free bike using that voucher. In Rock Tunnel, this is just about how things go, even when I was a kid. Don't use Flash, just follow the walls, eventually you'll get out. After only tripping 2 or 12 times in Rock Tunnel, I had to Celadon City, specifically the department store, so I could get the TM for Ice Beam from this little girl in exchange for a fresh water. I teach it immediately to Crush for some ice coverage. Grass-type gym leader Erica. Now I gotta say this right off the bat, I came into this battle way too cocky after snagging that TM for Ice Beam. I hit Victory Bell with a huge Ice Beam, lowering it to just below half HP, but it puts me to sleep and hits me with 2 Razor Leafs that immediately drop Crush. I guess I just believed in him too much. Anyway, Shinron has to come in and clean up this whole battle. Luckily, Razor Leafs don't do too much and Victory Bell goes down. That crit machine is terrifying. Next up is Tangela, a lot less threatening than Victory Bell. Tangela goes down to 3 bites. Last but not least is Vileplume. Vileplume isn't as scary as Victory Bell either, as it's not a crit machine due to its base speed stat in Gen 1. With that being the case, even with a crit, Vileplume's Mega Drains are doing pitiful damage to Shinron as I take it down with 3 Dragon Rages. I do believe it's gambling time, baby. First, I need to grab the coin case from this defeated soul sulking in the corner of this restaurant. It's game time, baby. Super speed. Whoa, hey, no, go, yep, that's the right direction. No, down, no, yep, hey, let's go. With my winnings from the game corner, move, thank you. I go to the Game Corner prize exchange and pick up TM15, which is a TM for Hyper Beam, and immediately teach it to Shinron. After directly supporting Team Rocket through my huge spending Game Corner extravaganza, I make it to the Rocket hideout, and shortly after that, Crush evolves into a nice and powerful Blastoise at level 36. Time for the battle against Boss Giovanni in the Rocket hideout. He leads with Onix as a Water Gun from Crush takes it out in one shot. Next up is Rhyhorn, so I stay in and Water Gun this thing to obliterate it. Last but not least is his Kangaskhan, so 2 Ice Beams are gonna send this thing straight to the Shadow Realm. Kangaskhan and its baby. Now I feel bad. Time to head to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town. He's been standing there this whole time? Anyway, he gets what he wants, a battle with me as I lead with Shinron and he leads with Pidgeotto. So Hyper Beam in Gen 1 is completely broken. That's why I spent so much time at the Game Corner. If you KO an opposing Pokemon using the Hyper Beam, you don't have to recharge. As long as you take it down, you don't have to recharge. So, Hyper Beam becomes a spammable monstrosity, and it takes down almost all of his Pokemon. So, Kadabra goes down, and then last but not least is Ivysaur, and Hyper Beam takes it out in one shot too. You absolute behemoth of a Pokemon, Shinron. I love it. After defeating my rival, I can finally save Mr. Fuji at the top of Pokemon Tower. He invites me back to his house and hands over the Poke Flute. With that, I can finally wake up Snorlax and move him out of the way. Move! This in turn grants me the Super Rod as a gift from this fishing guru. I go back to Celadon City and catch a Slowpoke to add to the team. I go all the way back to Vermilion City and catch a Shelder to add to the team too. I nickname Slowpoke Dopey, and I nickname Shelder Sheldon because it's hilarious. Shortly after that, and because Cycling Road harbors trainers that only have poison types and fighting types, Dopey evolves into a nice and powerful Slowbro. This is going to be a great asset to have against Koga. Poison type Gym Leader Koga. I'm kind of an idiot for this one, as I didn't go to Saffron City and grab the TM for Psychic from Mr. Psychic's house to teach it to Dopey. However, this still goes pretty smoothly with just Confusion. Confusion still rips through his first coughing in 2 shots, and it rips through his muck in 2 shots, so luckily there's nothing going on that I can't take care of here. His next coughing does go down in 2 shots too. I don't know why he's using these X-stat items. I don't know. Last but not least is Wheezing, and 2 Confusions are going to take this down as well after 1 critical hit. With Koga out of the way, it's time to head to the Safari Zone and grab some necessary items. As I make my way through the Safari Zone, I grab the Golden Teeth so I could get the HM for Strength, and I grab the HM for Surf at the end of the Safari Zone. It's time to hit up Silphco. Here's the rival battle at Silphco, and just a disclaimer, I am not grabbing the Lapras to add to my team. I do have other plans for different teammates. So, Pidgeot goes down in 1 Hyper Beam as I lead with Shinron. Next up is Gyarados, and we trade Dragon Rages before I hit him with a mighty Hyper Beam and take him down, just to guarantee the KO. Next is Growlithe, so I switch out to Crush, and proceed to crush him with a Surf. I needed to show Crush some love in this battle, but I go immediately back into Shinron on his Alakazam. Suffice to say that Alakazam's physical defense is doo-doo, and it goes down to 1 Hyper Beam. Next up, and last but not least, is his Venusaur. I switch into Dopey for some moronic reason and hit him with a Confusion that does absolutely pitiful damage because I still haven't gone and grabbed the TM for Psychic. Razor Leaf crits and takes down Dopey. It's a sad day. I bring in Sheldon to switch train him, switch out to Shinron, it hurts itself in Confusion, and a Hyper Beam takes it down. Next up is another Giovanni battle, and I'm sure things will go fairly quick with him. Yeah, this battle's kind of a joke with only Water-type Pokemon. 1 Confusion and 1 Bubble Beam from Dopey takes down Nidorino. Next up is Kangaskhan, so a Hydro Pump is gonna one-shot this thing. Next up is Rhyhorn, so Dopey comes back in and 1 Surf takes it out. Last but not least is Nidoqueen, so 1 Surf and 1 Bubble Beam take down Nidoqueen. It's time for Sabrina. Psychic-type Gym Leader Sabrina doesn't stand a chance against my powerful, bulky Water types. Kadabra goes down to 1 Hyper Beam. It's gonna be a Hyper Beam sweep, guys. I'm sorry about this, but it's just too good. Mr. Mime goes down to 1 Hyper Beam as well. Venomoth comes in next, and doesn't eat a Hyper Beam very well, so it goes down 2. Last but not least is Alakazam, and he only lives 1 because of this Reflect. Really ballsy move there. So a Hyper Beam hits it, and I didn't get the KO, so I have to recharge, but a Bite takes it down after it does nothing. You could only have 1 Reflect up at a time, Sabrina. Let's head to Cinnabar Island. Surfing south of Pallet Town, I run into a Tentacool, a new dual typing. I capture it, and I nickname it No Name. Welcome to the team, No Name. Finally, at Cinnabar Island, I take my Helix fossil that I got from Mount Moon and have it resurrected into a powerful god. I nickname this Omanite Gary, and we can move on to Blaine. Fire-type Gym Leader Blaine. Now, I don't think I need to say why this battle is super easy, but I will. I have water types, he has fire types. Even then, Gary 4 times resists any incoming fire attack. But even on top of that, Gen 1 Blaine is absolutely baffling. He'll do interesting things like Super Potion a full health Pokemon, and use X items when a Pokemon's about to go down next turn anyway. But I guess that's just the way it is. Anyway, being severely underleveled and freshly reborn from a fossil, Gary still puts in work as he takes down Growlithe, Ponyta, and Rapidash. Last but not least on Blaine's roster is an Arcanine, his ace Pokemon. Unfortunately, after a Super Potion at max health, a Surf isn't going to take down Arcanine. He in turn takes me down with Takedown. That leaves Sheldon to come in and hit with a Clamp to take down Arcanine after a failed Roar. You can't Roar in Gen 1, that's not the way it works. Come on, Blaine, pull it together. A Super Potion at max health and a Roar? On to Giovanni. I'm back in Viridian City for the 8th and final Gym Leader battle with Ground-type Gym Leader, Giovanni. I see this as another good experience opportunity for Gary, so I take down his Rhyhorn with a Surf. I then switch out to Crush for Giovanni's Dugtrio, as Gary probably doesn't want to take a Ground-type move like Dig, as he is still severely underleveled. Dugtrio goes down to 1 Surf, and Nidoqueen is coming in next, so I go back into Gary to hit it with a Surf. He goes for a Tail Whip, and the Surf does a ton of damage, but it doesn't end up taking it down in 1 shot. A follow-up Surf does take it down, however. Next up is Nidoking, and I'm going to treat this exactly like Nidoqueen because they don't learn good moves by level up. So, he misses a Horn attack as I hit it with a Surf for massive damage, he hits me with a Tackle, and it goes down to a following Surf. Last but not least is Giovanni's Rhydon. He comes in and instantly lands a 1-hit KO Fissure to take down Gary. Poor little Gary. That gives me an opportunity to bring in Sheldon and hit Rhydon with a Surf that KOs it in 1 shot. Sheldon is also super underleveled, so I'll take what I could get. Next up is the rival battle just before Victory Road. The battle with my rival shows me just how underleveled the Pokemon on my team are. The experience that I've gathered on this journey has been spread thin amongst the Pokemon on my team. Rarely on a Pokemon journey do I carry around 6 Pokemon with me at any given time. That fact, combined with little to no grinding throughout this adventure, has landed me in a pretty tough spot against this rival battle. Pidgeot goes down to Sheldon with a bunch of Aurora Beams. I then swap in Gary to outspeed Rhyhorn and take it down with the Surf. Gyarados is coming out next, so I switch out into Shenron. I love seeing my Gyarados beat down an opposing Gyarados. I go for Bite, as he only goes for Leer, and a Hyper Beam's gonna take it down with absolutely no issue. Next up is Growlithe, so I switch into Sheldon to get some more much-needed experience. A Surf is going to hit very hard, but not one-shot it. Then unfortunately, Growlithe KOs Sheldon with a takedown. I bring in Gary for some revenge and hit it back with a Surf after it goes for 1 more agility. Alakazam is coming in next, so I swap in Crush to take him on. This is where things take a turn for the worst. Alakazam's base speed is super high, giving it that disgusting high critical hit chance. It crits a Psychic and takes down Crush in 1 shot. However, I bring in Shenron, it sets up a Reflect and lives a Hyper Beam. I didn't KO, so I have to recharge, and he goes for another Reflect. Odd, but another Hyper Beam takes him down. Last but not least is Venusaur, and this is terrible. I bring in Dopey, and he immediately gets crit by a Razor Leaf and taken down. I bring in Shenron expecting to clean up this battle pretty quickly, but Bite does no damage. He immediately crits Shenron with a Razor Leaf as I go for another Bite and then a Hyper Beam that doesn't KO, no! So another Razor Leaf comes and crits Shenron. I have to recharge and a Vine Whip takes Shenron down. Without Shenron, that leaves 2 Pokemon on my team that haven't been leveled up for this kind of predicament. No Name goes down immediately, Gary comes out, and after a random potion, Venusaur takes Gary down with a Razor Leaf. I think it's time to grind. Yeah. After a not-so-quick grinding session inside Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island, Gary evolves into a nice and powerful Omastar. Look at that sprite, I love it. Super sassy, bro. During this grinding session, Sheldon also hits level 50 and learns the move Ice Beam. I quickly rush over to Celadon City and go to the department store to pick up a Water Stone. After jamming the Water Stone in his clam, Sheldon evolves into a nice and powerful Cloyster. Let's go! Oh god, blur it, blur it! Oh, that's better. Round 2 with my rival after the whole squad hits level 50. He leads with Pidgeot as I lead with Sheldon and knock it out with one Ice Beam. I'm glad I waited till Sheldon learned Ice Beam at level 50 before evolving it, or else I wouldn't have access to that. Rhyhorn also goes down in one shot to a Surf. Gyarados is coming in next, so I send out Shinron for that obligatory mirror match I like having. I go for a bite, as he goes for 2 Leers, I miss one Hyper Beam, and another Hyper Beam lands and takes him down. Growlithe is up next, so I swap out into Gary. I immediately go for a Hydro Pump that misses, unfortunately. He goes for Agilities, and that's okay, because a Hydro Pump that lands is actually going to take it down. The speedy Crit Machine Alakazam is coming in next, so I swap into Dopey so I can take his Psychic-type moves. Psybeam doesn't do that much, but Surf isn't doing much back to him. So, I take this opportunity to go for Amnesia. Amnesia is crazy powerful, it boosts your special by 2 stages. After that, a Surf is automatically gonna delete it from existence. Last but not least, my rival's sending in his Venusaur, so I send in Shinron. I want this rematch like no other. I flinch him and crit him, he hits me with a crit Razor Leaf, but a Hyper Beam is gonna miss. And then I take him down with the following Hyper Beam. Take that, sucker! Next up is the Elite Four, but let's take a quick look at our lineup. Crush is level 51 with Surf, Water Gun, Ice Beam, and Bite. Shinron is level 52 with Hydro Pump, Hyper Beam, Strength, and Dragon Rage. Dopey is level 52 with Amnesia, Surf, Psychic, and Fire Blast. Sheldon is level 51 with Surf, Ice Beam, Aurora Beam, and Explosion. No Name is level 51 with Hydro Pump, Surf, Acid, and Mega Drain. And finally, Gary is level 52 with Hydro Pump, Surf, Blizzard, and Spike Cannon. First up is Ice-type Elite Four trainer Lorelei. She leads with her Dugong as I lead with Dopey and start setting up Amnesias to boost my special. In Generation 2 and onward, Amnesia raises your special defense by 2 stages, but this is Gen 1, baby. Special attack and special defense have been roped together in one stat called Special, so essentially Amnesia in Gen 1 is stupid broken. Amnesia raises Dopey's special stat by 2 stages, and that would essentially be like being able to use 2 Calm Minds in one turn. Dugong and Cloyster easily go down to boosted Psychics, and then Slowbro comes out, so I send in No Name because he has access to Mega Drain. Lorelei knows what's up with Amnesia as well, as her Slowbro is going for it, but 2 crits and 1 non-crit Mega Drain take down Slowbro. Jinx is coming in next, so I send Dopey back in to take any hit she wants to go for, especially these Thrashes that are doing no damage. I then set up more Amnesia so I could easily take this thing down with a Fire Blast. This Jinx is the sole reason as to why I have Fire Blast on Dopey's moveset. It's too good not to have. Jinx goes down and Lapras is coming in next. It hits Dopey with a Body Slam, paralyzing him, but we break through paralysis and take it down with 1 Psychic. With the defeat of Lorelei, we're on to the next one. Fighting type Elite Four trainer Bruno. This is gonna be a Dopey sweep. I set up 1 Amnesia as this Onix goes for a terrible rage, and then I use Surf to knock out this Onix in 1 shot. Everything on his team does outspeed Dopey, but they just don't do enough damage. Hitmonchan's special is terrible, so this Thunder Punch does nothing, and it goes down to a Psychic immediately. Deleted. Hitmonlee's coming in next, and it hits with a Jump Kick, doing nothing, and goes down to a Psychic just like its brother. Next up is another Onix, and, well, it only goes for Harden, so a Surf is going to take it down in 1 shot. Last but not least is Bruno's ace, Machamp. And this is unfortunate too. He only goes for a Focus Energy, which does the opposite in Gen 1, and immediately gets deleted because of Psychic. Dopey's too powerful. Next up is Poison-type Elite Four trainer Agatha. Unfortunately, all of her Pokemon are part Poison type, so Dopey's gonna kinda have a field day here. I set up an Amnesia as Gengar goes for Confuse Ray and then puts me to sleep after I hit myself. She makes a weird switch into Golbat, but I wake up and one-shot it with Psychic. That's not the only weird switch she makes. Gengar comes back in, misses a Hypnosis, and drops to 1 Psychic. Next up is Haunter, arguably her weakest Pokemon, so of course she goes for a Dream Eater, what the hell Agatha, and drops to a Psychic as well. Next up is Arbok, and this is where it gets funky again. She strangely swaps out to her Gengar, and I get a crit so it doesn't take down Gengar, unfortunately. She hits with a Nightshade, and a Surf is able to take down Gengar, making Arbok her last Pokemon. So Arbok comes in and hits with an Acid, and it's just Acid, so a Psychic takes it down. And I have to say, Agatha, those were some top-notch switches, and that Dream Eater while I was awake? Sheesh. Dragon-type Elite Four trainer Lance leads with his Gyarados as I lead with Crush, mistakenly, so I immediately swap out into Dopey and eat a Dragon Rage for 40 damage. Always 40 damage. Another one lands as I go for a Psychic that does nothing to this Gyarados. So I set up an Amnesia as it hits me with 2 Leers, and I hit it with a Psychic that takes it down immediately. Next up is his Dragonair, so I'm going to swap out to the hard counter, Sheldon. Sheldon has really high physical defense, and he has access to Ice Beam, making him a very hard counter to Lance's entire team except for Gyarados. One Ice Beam each for his Dragonairs are going to take them down. Next up is Aerodactyl, so I opt to stay in with Sheldon. He hits me with a Bite, but I take it like a champ and return the favor with a Surf to take him down in one shot. Last but not least, Lance sends in his scary Dragonite. It goes for an Agility and gets taken down by one Ice Beam. Yikes. With 4 easy victories in a row, it's time to take on the champion. The battle with champion rival. I'm coming into this battle really confident, even though my Pokemon are roughly 10 to 15 levels lower than his ace Pokemon Venusaur. I lead with Sheldon because I know he's leading with Pidgeot. He hits me with a quick attack as I pelt him with Ice Beams that are doing tons of damage. He then goes for a mirror move to hit me with Ice Beam, and I 4 times resist that, so no. Pidgeot, no. Die. Next up is Alakazam, and Sheldon's special is pretty bad, so I swap into Dopey because his special's really good. Take a second though. There we go. Come on in, Dopey. I immediately start setting up Amnesias. A recover when you're full health? Come on, Mustachio. A Side Beam does nothing to Dopey as I keep setting up more Amnesias. He sets up Reflect as I go for one more Amnesia. Reflect's only good for physical defense, so this Surf, after a failed recover again, is gonna take it out in one shot. Easy money. Don't recover when you're at full health 2 times. Next up is Rhydon, and I stay in, and a Surf's gonna KO it with a 4-time super effective move, no doubt. Dusted. Next up is Gyarados, and I'm gonna stay in with Dopey because I'm already at +6 special, which is absolutely insane. He hits me with a Leer. A Leer! Dude! A Psychic takes it down in one shot. What the hell's going on? Next up is Arcanine, so I'm gonna stay in again, and he hits a Leer. What is up with Leer? Die! Yeah. Surf's gonna take it out in one shot. Last but not least, he brings in his Venusaur, and weirdly enough, I opt to stay in, and he immediately takes me down with a crit Razor Leaf. No, Dopey! Your reign of terror has come to an end. With the unfortunate fall of Dopey, Shinron has to come in and save the day. Get some revenge. Strength isn't really doing that much damage as I am 14 levels lower than his Venusaur, but I go for 3 strengths in a row as he hits me with a huge, nasty, massive Solar Beam. Ouch. After that, I go for my beam move and take down Venusaur. And that's all she wrote, baby. Even with that level difference, that battle was a lot easier than I expected it to be. Here's the new Hall of Fame, Sheldon at level 51, a hard Lance counter. You did great, buddy. Shinron at level 51, bought you for 500 bucks, and you paid off. Next up is Dopey at level 55, Amnesia's disgusting, you're a menace. Crush, the starter, at level 51, you were there too. Good old No Name, thank you for taking down Lorelai's Slowbro, that's about it. And lastly, Gary, you're just there for the Sassy 6 sprite. Ooh, that took a while. I forgot how long full team runs could take. Alright. This was an incredibly fun run. It was super nice to finally go back and do a run through the first Pokemon game that I had growing up. A little nostalgia trip, I guess. It's a little hard to call this a challenge run at the end of the day, but I suppose I'll stick to it since my team wasn't even close to being super overleveled at any point during this run. In fact, I was severely underleveled for the champion battle, and it was still an easy win. Of course, I'm open to suggestions. If you want to see a specific challenge run, let me know in the comment section. Let me know which Pokemon you want me to use and which game you want me to play through. Also, check out my Pokemon Challenge Run playlist. A link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. There's more there and plenty more to come. I have a tip jar link in the description as well. If you would like to leave a tip, thank you very much. If not, don't sweat it. Never feel obligated to leave a tip. Anyway, if you enjoyed this crazy journey, hit the like button. It helps a lot. Comment down below, even if it's just for the algorithm, and subscribe to stay up to date with what I have going on. I've been Skwizzit, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.